Hello everyone, welcome to CST206 Operating Systems video lecture. In this video lecture, we are going to discuss about the classical problems of synchronization. We have three problems. The first one is bounded buffer problem, the second is dining philosopher problem, and the third is the readers writers problem. The bounded buffer problem. There is a buffer of n slots and each slot is capable of storing one unit data. There are two processes running, namely producer and consumer, which are operating on the buffer. So we have a storage called the buffer, which contains n slots and each slot is capable of storing one unit data. There are two processes, they are called the producer and the consumer. The producer produces a product and the consumer consumes a product. Now let us take a look at the problem. The producer tries to insert data into an empty slot of the buffer. The consumer tries to remove data from a filled slot in buffer. These two processes won't produce the expected output if they are being executed concurrently. So as I said, the producer tries to enter data in an empty slot and the consumer tries to remove it. When the processes are run simultaneously, they will not give the expected results. So we need to make sure that the producer and the consumer runs independently. One solution of this problem is to use semaphores. We will make use of three semaphores: mutex, empty and full. Mutex is a binary semaphore which is used to acquire and release the lock. Empty, a counting semaphore whose initial value is the number of slots in the buffer and initially all slots are empty. Full, a counting semaphore whose initial value is 0. So at any instant, the current value of empty represents the number of empty slots in the buffer and the full represents the number of occupied slots in the buffer. Here you can see how the semaphores are initialized in the program. Here you can see the pseudocode of the producer function. Looking at the above code for the producer, we can see that the producer first waits until there is at least one empty slot. Then it decrements the empty semaphore because there will be now one less empty slot since the producer is going to insert data to one of those slots. Then it acquires lock on the buffer so that the consumer cannot access the buffer until the producer completes its operation. After performing the insert operation, the lock is released and the value of full is incremented because the producer has just filled a slot in the buffer. Here you can see the pseudocode for the consumer function. The consumer waits there until there is at least one full slot is there in the buffer. Then it decrements the full semaphore because the number of occupied slots will be decreased by 1 after the consumer completes its operation. After that, the consumer acquires lock on the buffer. Following that, the consumer completes the removal operation so that the data from one of the full slot is removed. Then the consumer releases the lock. Finally, the empty semaphore is incremented by 1 because the consumer has just removed the data from an occupied slot, thus making it empty. The dining philosopher's problem. The dining philosopher's problem is another classic synchronization problem which is used to evaluate situations where there is a need of allocating multiple resources to multiple processes. So consider there are 5 philosophers sitting around a table in which there are 5 chopsticks or forks kept besides them and a bowl of rice in the center. When a philosopher wants to eat, he uses 2 chopsticks, one from the left and one from their right. When a philosopher wants to think, he keeps down the both chopsticks at their original place. One simple solution is to represent each chopstick with a semaphore. A philosopher tries to grab a chopstick by executing a wait operation on that semaphore. He releases his chopstick by executing the signal operation on the appropriate semaphore. So from the above problem statement, it is clear that the philosopher can think for an indefinite amount of time. But when a philosopher starts eating, he has to stop at some point of time. The philosopher is an endless cycle of thinking and eating. So we can use a wait operation whenever a philosopher wants to grab a chopstick for eating, and a signal operation whenever he wants to release his chopsticks for thinking. So an array of 5 semaphores is created to represent the 5 chopsticks and all the elements of the array are initialized to 1. Here you can see the pseudocode for each of the philosopher. When a philosopher wants to eat the rice, he will wait for the chopstick on his left and he picks that chopstick. and he waits for the right chopsticks to be available, and then he picks that too, and after eating he puts both the chopsticks down. Although the solution guarantees that no two neighbors are eating simultaneously, it could create a deadlock. Suppose that all the 5 philosophers become hungry at the same time and each grabs her left chopstick. All the elements of chopstick will now be equal to 0. When each philosopher tries to grab his right chopstick, he will be delayed forever. So as I said, just consider when all 5 philosophers wants to eat. So they pick up their left chopstick at first and then tries to pick their right chopstick. But they won't get the right chopstick because it is already picked by one of the other philosopher. So the philosopher will be delayed forever and waiting for the right chopstick, so thus creating a deadlock situation. There are several possible ways or remedies in which the above deadlock situation can be avoided. The first is the allow at most 4 philosophers to be sitting simultaneously at the table. That way, if all 4 philosophers picks up 4 chopsticks, there will be 1 chopstick left on the table. So one philosopher can start eating and eventually 2 chopsticks will be available. In this way, the deadlock can be avoided. Allow a philosopher to pick up his chopsticks only if both chopsticks are available. Use an asymmetric solution, that is, an odd numbered philosopher picks up first her left chopstick and then her right chopstick, whereas an even numbered philosopher picks up her right chopstick and then her left chopstick. By using the above ways, we can overcome the above deadlock situation. The next problem is the readers-writers problem. The readers-writers problem is another example of classic synchronization problem. Suppose that a database is to be shared among several concurrent processes. Some of these processes may want to read the database, whereas others might want to update the database. So there are 2 processes mainly. The first is the readers. Readers is the process that reads data from the database, and the second is the writers, which updates data in the database. Now let us see the problem. If 2 readers access the shared data simultaneously, no adverse effect will result. However, if a writer and some other process, either a reader or a writer, access the database simultaneously, chaos may ensue. So we have a shared resource that should be accessed by multiple processes. So there are 2 processes, the reader and the writer. Any number of readers can read from the shared resource simultaneously, but only one writer can write to the shared resource. When a writer is writing data to the resource, no other process can access the resource. A writer cannot write to the resource if at least one reader is accessing the resource at the same time. To solve the above problem, we use 2 semaphores and an integer value. The muted semaphore, as we have seen in the bounded buffer problem, and it is used to acquire and release the lock. We use an RW mutex, and it is common to both processes, which are the reader and the writer. And we use an integer value called the read count, and it keeps track of how many processes that are currently reading the object. Below you can see how these variables are initialized in the program. Here you can see the code for both the reader and the writer process. The code on the left is for the writer and on the right is for the reader. So as seen in the above code for the writer just waits on the RW muted semaphore until it gets a chance to write to the resource. After performing the write operation, it increments the RW muted semaphore so that the next writer can access the resource. On the other hand, in the code for the reader, the lock is acquired whenever the read count is updated by a process. When a reader wants to access the resource, first it increments the read count value, then access the resource, and then decrements the read count value. The semaphore RW mutex is used by the first reader which enters the critical section and the last reader which exits the critical section. The reason for this is when the first reader enters the critical section, the writer is blocked from the resource. Only new readers can now access the resource now. Similarly, when the last reader exits the critical section, it signals the writer using the RW muted semaphore because there are 0 readers now and the writer can now have a chance to access the resource. In this video lecture, we discuss about the classical problems of synchronization, which are the bounded buffer problem, the dynamic philosopher problem, and the readers-writers problem. We also discuss the solution to the problem using semaphores.